Welcome to another edition of Currumbin RSL Live, and today we've got Gav Bellis and Naomi from Young Veteran Support Services, and we're talking with Gavin because he's an amazing man who's just won the Australian his division at the Australian Adaptive Surfing Championships. But before that, Gav is a veteran. So what we're going to talk about today is his journey through his service, and also what's happened after his service. So Gavin, if you wouldn't mind, tell us about your journey and how your service started.
I joined the Army in 1994, went to the Corps of Ramie as a diesel mechanic, served in East Timor in 99, quick trip to Bougainville, and then in the Solomon Islands in 2003, 2004. I was also fortunate, I got exercise long look and went to England in 2000 on exchange, which was a great trip as well. On return from the Solomon Islands, I was diagnosed with spinocerebellar ataxia, which is a degenerative neurological disease, and I was subsequently discharged in 2005.
Wow. And it sounds as though your service was quite important to you, so
Yep.
and a big part of your life. So how did that diagnosis impact on you?
Yeah, it was huge. So I say that the military was a family business. So my grandfather served during World War I and World War II, not overseas but in Australia, and uncles and aunties served in Papua New Guinea during World War II. My father served in Malaya and Vietnam. My brother served in Iraq, Afghanistan and various other places. And then my own service plus other cousins. So it's what our family basically did. So when I was diagnosed and medically discharged, that was a huge shock, not only my disease, but the fact of losing my identity and manhood, because that's all I was ever going to do. I didn't plan on leaving the Army after 11 years. I was, in for a long time, so to speak. So, the impact of that was I was on the couch for about 4 or 5 years in a bit of a black hole. So, it took a bit to get it out of that, and sport was a way for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did you muster up the courage to get out of that situation? And it was sport.
Yeah. My disease is quite rare, and it could eventually be fatal. It's a degenerative thing which is not good. So that was a struggle with my headspace. And in 2008, I was watching TV and the Paralympics was on, and I saw a swimmer that was diagnosed with spinocerebellar ataxia, and I never knew that sport was an option to me. I used to play rugby in the Army and I was always active, but then because of my balance and coordination, I didn't think I could participate in any sport. And then I saw that and rang up the Australian Paralympic Committee, and I talked to them, and they said, well, what are you interested in? And I ended up taking up rowing in 2010.
Oh wow, so tell us more about that. So you took up Paralympic rowing and represented Australia? Yeah,
so I started rowing in 2010. I was lucky enough to be selected on the Australian team in 2012, and I competed at a World Cup in Munich, and then got selection, and then went on to the London Paralympics, which the result wasn't the best because I'm a pretty competitive guy. I had an injury, and then I was Kat, my rowing partner, and I were lucky enough to win the World Championships in 2013, 14 and 15. And then went to Rio Paralympics in 2016, and result wasn't the best there, but it was still great to be there. And then I retired after Rio from rowing, and we moved up here to the Gold Coast, and I took up surfing.
Oh, so whereabouts were you from?
So we lived in Canberra at the time because my wife only got out of the Army at the end of 2015, so she had served 21 years as well. So. Yeah, wow. So we moved around and we decided to make the Gold Coast home
Yeah.
and Currumbin home.
Well, it's probably the most beautiful place on earth, so
Yeah.
good choice. Sorry, Naomi, all the questions are for Gavin at this point in time. We're going to get to you because you play an important role later in the story, I imagine. But so
Very much so.
yeah, and so being a para athlete at the Olympics and winning world championships, and now going into adaptive surfing.
Yep.
Tell us about that journey. Is it the same level of intensity and training that you have to do?
Not as much, no, but it does help that I do that. I still sort of train pretty hard. It's just, I suppose, training's a lot more enjoyable being out in the surf and hanging out with mates. And I'm also a member of the Association of Veteran Surfers, so surfing with other veterans is just great. Adaptive surfing is wanting to be in the Paralympics one day, because surfing is in Tokyo.
Yeah,
but the Paralympics, it isn't, unfortunately. But so behind the scenes with the organisation, my knowledge of also helping develop the sport into just a few adaptive surfers, having a bit of funding, but in the competition side of things as well, in the elite level.
Wow. And so tell us about the Australian Championships that were held just recently.
Yeah, so they were held down at Cabarita. Yeah, and I was lucky enough to win my division, AS4 category. So I've qualified, the team selection will come out, and hopefully I can get to the World Champs in La Jolla in America on December 12th to the 16th.
You're saying that's near San Diego, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just north of San Diego.
And we were talking earlier, so this may come, but we might set up a GoFundMe campaign for Gavin. So yeah, stay tuned on that one. But I guess your sporting journey is also taking you to a new role as well as an ambassador.
Yes.
For para athletes.
Yes.
And can you tell
Thanks
us?
to Naomi.
Oh, well, segue to Naomi. So maybe, yeah, tell us a bit about that role and how Naomi lent a hand.
So obviously I've met Naomi through young veterans and morning tea and coffee catch up, and she's always been a pillar of support for me in many different aspects. And I saw an opportunity with World Rowing and the Agitos Foundation, which is the sponsors the Paralympic Committee, and there's a program it's called the Proud Paralympian Program, where you essentially mentor other athletes and people that want to participate in Paralympic sport to get to that elite level, and then help train them and show them the journey and facilitate their progress type of thing. So through that, I hadn't had to do a CV in a long time, because 2005 I've just been doing sport. Actually being an athlete, you don't have to fill out a CV for that. So I got in touch with Naomi, and if it wasn't for Naomi's help with my CV and my motivation for doing it, I doubt that my CV would have been as well received, and I truly believe that thanks to Naomi, it's the reason why I've got this opportunity to take part, and it could be the start of something very big.
I think
for me. So,
definitely, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've got Naomi, and thank you for all your help.
So Naomi, obviously Gavin has got an amazing skill set. So how do you tease that out and make it applicable to a resume? Because it's quite an art, isn't it?
It is. Gavin and I had a few discussions in the weeks leading up before the job was actually available about what direction that he was looking to go into, and sports always played a big part of Gavin's identity and the future direction. But there's actually a lot of, I suppose, crossovers between Gavin's military experience as well as being a sportsman. So the things like his motivation, his determination, the discipline were all very transferable from his military experience and life, and very similar to what an athlete would require as well. So coupled with that sort of coupled with the discussions that we'd had about the future direction that Gav was looking at was actually quite easy for me to sort of really tease that out.
He was a good student.
He was an excellent student. Yeah, I think it was something that I was really excited to work with Gavin on as well. Like, it's something completely different, not something that I would see every day in my position. It's not a usual sort of job being applying for a Paralympian ambassador. So yeah, it was really exciting and great to work with Gavin on it.
Yeah. So Gavin, will that role take you, I guess, around the country and around the world?
Yeah, touch wood. So the role, I head to Barcelona next week for training to fulfil the role. So there for training for a week, and then the likelihood that I travel around maybe 3 times a year to conduct these programs with other Olympians and Paralympians. So the details are, find out after the training, but yeah, it looks exciting.
How exciting. And with Tokyo only, I think it was 2 years ago, 2 days ago.
Yep.
It's pretty much really just around the corner, really, isn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah, and it's funny that your training's in Barcelona, because I think our CEO is currently in Barcelona, so maybe we should give you her details and you can catch up for an espresso or a nice coffee in a Spanish cafe or something. But so with Tokyo just around the corner, I guess what will tell us about how the build up is going to be like to the Tokyo Games?
Well, it's already started for a lot of people. I may be getting back in the boat to try for selection as an athlete as well. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So that's happening now. It's just whether the final decision I make and that my coach makes, or whether we actually make a serious run for it, because it is quite a massive commitment from a lot of people. But then with the Paralympian program, there is a few sports which are new to the Paralympic Games, and there is, in Paralympic sport, like anything, there's a lot of crossover from other sports. And for like myself, I started running in 2010 and I made the London Paralympics. I was training 6-7 days a week for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, but you can do it. So there's still enough time when you talk to those people, if they want to do it, you can achieve anything once you put your mind to it. So
you sound like one of those people who's just a naturally gifted athlete who can, those type of people.
A gifted athlete within my disability. So yeah, a lot of hard work and training, but yeah, I am actually a bit surprised myself at how well I've done. I am actually proud of my sporting achievements. So
that's unreal. And so, what's next on the horizon for Young Veteran Support Services, Naomi?
Well, we're continually doing our social activities on a sort of weekly and quarterly sort of basis.
Yeah, and so Gavin goes to the coffee catch-ups with you?
Yep, sometimes.
Yeah.
Not as much as Naomi would, I suppose, like, but I do get busy sometimes with my sporting and training and surfing. It is training. I have to go surfing because of the worlds and rowing. So yeah, but I'm also putting in my Cert 3.
Yes. So Gavin's also part of our pre-employment education program, and we're looking to get Gav underway with the Cert 3 in business. So part of the program is we offer a number of certificates. So that's free for veterans, and yeah, looking to get started and underway and graduated in that. So
wow.
Yeah, we'll certainly help out with sort of future employment opportunities as well.
So you're an ambassador, you're thinking about competing at the next Olympics, and you're undertaking study as well.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
But all these things keep you occupied and busy and good for life, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of it if it wasn't for Naomi's support and the young veterans, so including this Paralympian program, my surfing and the involvement and the help that we get with the Association of Veteran Surfers as well, and then with this education, that will be another string to my bow, which will help with my Paralympian and world rowing activities. So it all meshes together, it all links in together and ties in, and with all my other veteran mates around here. Yeah.
Awesome. I did have one more question for you, but it's just popped out of my head, Naomi. But in terms of activities and catch-ups, is there anything that you would, if we could finish the interview with one suggestion for a young veteran that's out in the community, what would it be? To engage with YVSS?
Oh, look, just come along. The people that you meet, you never know, who you can meet or what sort of opportunities will come from that. I'm always in contact with new employers on the coast, with other veterans, and through that just opens up all sorts of other opportunities. It's a great group. It's a great opportunity to catch up, and yeah, I think everyone gets quite a lot out of it. So yeah,
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Well, it's a perfect way to end the interview. So thank you both for being part of Currumbin RSL Live, and we'll see you on social media shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.